Taiwan is a friendly environment, but business is hard everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. Get your plans together, give yourself deadlines and schedules of what you need to do. And remember that making business cards is not part of your business plan.
Hi folks, Andrew here, and thank you for joining us here on Brood Business in Taiwan. This is where I meet up with some of our really cool entrepreneurs who have decided to make Taiwan their new home and to set up their businesses. And today I have the absolute incredible honor to speak to an old friend and a very respected entrepreneur here in Taiwan, Cara Richardson. And I'll get you to introduce yourself. All I want to say is she has my utmost respect. Okay, Cara, why Taiwan?
Why Taiwan?
Yeah. Why did you come to Taiwan?
I didn't really choose Taiwan. I was with the big company Texas Instruments, and they kept sending me here to Japan, China, Korea. And I really enjoyed being in Taiwan and working here, especially since I'm in manufacturing and saw all of the talent and skill set and the proximity of the factories. It just something that I always wanted to do was live here and work.
Just a little background here. So Cara in the past did one of the coolest jobs. I mean, anyone with kids, the kids will freak out. What did you do previously?
Well, I have to say the coolest thing I've ever done is I worked on the space shuttle program. So I worked for Lockheed Martin. We were contractors for NASA and in Kennedy Space Center, Florida. And we processed the space shuttle after it came back from flight. We checked out all the instrumentation, was my group, and got it ready for flight again. And it would launch and take off. I was part of the launch team, sat out there like you see at the consoles on TV, and part of that group, and it would take off, and then Houston would take over and control the mission. And it'd start over again, come back, and we'd process it, get it ready to launch.
That's just the coolest thing.
It was fun. It was a fun job. It wasn't a high-paying job. People think that would be like the best job ever, and it was great for learning.
Yeah.
But it was a glory job. Everybody wants to do that job, so they don't need to pay a lot of money to go sign up for that.
So now you found yourself coming to Taiwan quite a lot, and then you decided to step out of working for another company and to start your own consulting firm.
Kind of, sort of. What I did was I joined Chime, a part of Chime Group in Tainan. It was called Longting Keji. PDI was an e-paper company, and it was a way for me to come work in Taiwan and see what that was like. And I was with them for 3 years, and the job ended, and they, a year later, went IPO. And during that time, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do here. So I opened a trading company. I didn't know what I was going to do, but a dear friend, Florian Heike, he has owned Selenius here in Taiwan. Yeah. He said, just open a company, just do something, hire yourself and do something. And I did that. I had no idea what I was doing, and that's what I did.
Wow.
And I failed miserably at business. That's been 10 years, almost 10 years now since I started Lone Star Technology. And the first 5 years, I failed miserably.
Wow. Oh, we're gonna dive into all of it, because now you're running a fairly good business, it's stable. You're doing all right. You've got some interesting clients. We're definitely gonna dive into a lot of it. To when you first registered your company and you started doing things. What were some of the first business shocks that you got?
Actually, I was in really good hands. My buddy Florian turned me over to his accountant and said, you really should just have her do this for you because it is complicated. And they took care of me. They walked me through every step of it. But so having that contact here who was already in business, who connected me with a very nice accountant, they don't speak a lot of English, but it didn't matter. My Chinese is so-so. It was probably non-existent at that time, if I'm really honest. But having that accountant do it for you just need to pay them. It's inexpensive for what they do, and it will be done right. I know you can do it yourself, but to me that seems not worth it. If I can pay an accountant 20,000 Taiwan dollars to do it for me, and it's going to be right. They're also the same accountant handles my monthly tax, the bi-monthly tax, the VAT tax we have to file, and my yearly taxes. And so you find a good deal on that, just go with it.
when you first started doing work for your own clients, how did that go? Did you run into any specific issues? Connecting with local factories and manufacturers, or was it pretty straightforward?
I think the factory side is the easier side. Finding clients and doing sales is the hard side. And in the beginning, I started out doing trading. I was buying and selling things, and that really wasn't my forte. I have evolved into a service business where we do supply chain management for people. So instead of me finding that cable for them, I go out and find 3 to 5 cable suppliers. I qualify those factories, I get quotes, and then I give the client some options. And I explain the trade-offs for them and let them choose what they want to do. So we are really, truly supply chain services.
Let's just go back to when you did the buying and selling, because that is something that a lot of people envision themselves doing here in Taiwan. And of course, yes, Taiwan has a lot of great manufacturers, going straight from agricultural products to high-tech products.
They do.
What were some of the difficulties you faced with the buying and selling? Because like you mentioned, you verged over to supply chain management.
Probably the difficulty for me is that my customers wanted very cheap, so I wound up in China. I wound up doing a lot of work in China at the time, running around there, because Taiwan is more expensive and they're also slower to move. The factories, by the time I would get a quote back from a factory here, my customer had already moved on.
Yeah.
And so that was the challenge for me in working with factories here, is getting things to go faster. I've learned that that is just how it is, and that you need to plan for that if you're going to do business with a factory here. Because it takes a while for them to decide if you are the one they want to work with. That's the beauty of Taiwan, is that once they finally engage and they do it, they mean it. And they're very, very careful about what they deliver to as much as they can. Where China knows how to sell. Yeah. They get out there and say, here's the price, here's the quote, I can have it there next week. But then it arrives and it's a little bit different.
Gotcha.
Which one do you want?
All right. So explain to us, what is supply chain management?
Wow. It's such a huge field. I was at a group the other day, and someone said, we have entire departments that do what your team does. That is everything from demand planning, understanding how many you want to have at a certain time, and supplier qualification, understanding their MOQs. It's not just one factory, it's the entire chain, because all of our products are made of multiple parts. So you have to dig into each one and try and align those minimum order quantities in order for it to make sense. And the lower quantities that you have to purchase, the harder it gets to try and line that up. So it is a complex negotiation process that concludes making the request for quotation, purchase orders, receiving those invoices, doing that check and balance to make sure that you really are buying what you think you're buying, plus the factory understands what you want. And then all the quality control processes. You've got qualifying the factory, you've got writing the acceptance criteria, you've got shipping, import, export, all of those things, even safety certifications, right?
Of course, yeah.
Electronics, you got to make sure you're not zapping people. And, our biggest client, Foresight Helmet Systems, was just acquired by GoPro this last month or two. And we help them qualify their helmet for a DOT market. We've got some things cooking for the European market, all the safety things that make sure the product's good. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, all of those certifications that each market needs something a little bit different.
Let's dive into what does it take to deal with local factories here? How approachable are they? Do you just knock on their door and walk in and say, hey, I want this manufactured?
It's all over the board. Some are very difficult to deal with, and I found the lower tech they are, usually the harder they are to work with compared to people that are into consumer electronics.
Why would that be?
They've been doing things their way for a long time, and so they don't see the need to change anything. And that's why it can be really difficult and low tech. Now, there are exceptions.
Yeah.
There was a brush manufacturer that does makeup brushes
Okay.
outside in Taiwan. I'm trying to remember their name, but it's just amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and you walk into the owner's office and you see why. He had his own test lab for these makeup brushes of different types, and they had artists come in and try them out and try different things with it.
Yeah.
And his way of working with his people was, if you don't know the answer, you need to work on it and understand it. That was his philosophy on everything. And even his salespeople said, we know, if we don't know, we better find out and understand it.
Yeah.
So that's the way he led his company. Wonderful to work with. Low MOQs, great quality, just super. To walk in, you can see everything.
Okay.
It's so some are like that. And then others, you know, I could go there and I take a caliper and I go measure mechanical parts and I look at a drawing and I find differences and I say, hey, these are different. They don't match your drawings. And they say, well, we update the drawing. They bring out the drawing.
Okay.
And then I say, okay, now how are you manage these changes? You know, mechanical parts, if they're not controlled, it could be a problem definitely for any product. But the getting angry about being caught, that part is weird, but I guess that's a natural reaction for people. And so you have to understand that, because you don't want to have such a bad relationship that you don't get what you want. So you have to be careful when you say, okay, this is different. You have to be sensitive and appreciative of the hard work they've done to get to that point.
Obviously, you've got some very good experience working back in the States at different levels, and I'm sure tempers must have had flared around in NASA as well and wherever you worked before. So let's talk about difficult conversations, you know, back in the States versus here in Taiwan, because I'm sure here also you do have to have some difficult conversations with suppliers.
I think it's harder here because in the US we're very direct. You know, you say what you think, just say it. I think here, how hard someone has worked on something influences their ability to accept any criticism. They can become very defensive, and that's just not a good thing. You really need to watch for those signs of people becoming upset and kind of back off. It's tough. It's tough because sometimes you negotiate that common ground and then they still don't meet it. Then you may just need to walk away and find another factory if they can't do it.
I'm definitely going to second you on that, because that's exactly what we had to do on numerous occasions. So do you have to be very specific on what you want, like literally give it down to the crossed T's and dotted I's, or do they come out with their own bit of initiative and guidance and advise you on perhaps what they can do or how the product can be better?
I think you should have your own drawings when you walk into a factory. Otherwise, if they develop that for you, they own it. You need to think about what are the critical parts of it. You can't have everything perfect. You need to think about what's most important. Non-negotiables for perfect or close to perfect, with some tolerances. Everything needs tolerances. Factories can't build exact things. There's going to always be some variation, as tiny as it may be. So I think they're going to have suggestions. It's smart to keep open mind and listen to those, for sure, especially when you're talking about having things made. They have experience in putting things together that you may not have, that it's great to listen to them and get ideas.
Let's dive more into the actual things of like running a business in Taiwan. Welcome here. We just covered all the nice things. So running a business in Taiwan as a foreigner. So part of what we're doing with our entrepreneur visa, that we're assisting foreign entrepreneurs to come to Taiwan, we do want to give them like real-time advice, true advice on what to expect. Because I think unfortunately too many people arrive here with misconceptions, thinking it's very easy to do business in Taiwan, everything is straightforward, and of course the locals are gonna love their foreign ideas and concepts. And
it's absolutely not true. The locals are great. I love this place. This is my home. But You think about it, if I'm sitting in the United States and I've got someone who just showed up and they're telling me what I'm doing wrong, do I really want to hear that? We got things to do over there. People are busy, they're doing things. Just because you're foreign and maybe unique, you have a different perspective, it doesn't mean that everybody is going to be enamored with whatever you have to say. They may be polite, they are very polite here, but maybe deep down, they don't agree with you.
One of the big issues I've encountered when I first started doing business in Taiwan many years ago in the finance industry, and that was the whole concept of a top-down structure, management structure, where only the person at the top makes the decisions.
Right.
The middle and lower managers do not, whereas in the States and other Western countries or abroad, middle and lower managers or even staff do have the ability to make certain decisions. And that was one of the first things that I had to learn to overcome, because I would just go to networking events, meet with engineers, and they introduce you to a project manager, and there you start the conversation, you can start doing the dealings.
Right.
No.
That's right.
Here it's not. You've got to go to the top, and you have to win that person's confidence and trust first.
It kind of makes sense, though, when you think about it, because, it's if you have a project you want to work on, it's taking their time and resources. And so it may be a great idea and everybody's in agreement, but then it still is something that a company has to plan for and manage. They have to pull people off of other things to work on what you want. So I don't have a problem with that part. I think that's a good thing to make sure that upper management supports what you're doing.
Well, it's something that I learned to leverage very fast. Because first of all, it actually streamlines your networking that you have to do.
Right.
You just have to meet that one person, so you have to go and find that one person. You don't have to network with the entire company and trying to meet so many people and please so many. It's literally just find that one big decision maker, wine and dine them, and if you get in, you're sorted. All of your clients, I assume, are abroad, or foreign clients.
They're American and Australian.
So how do you then still find time to find clients and travel abroad?
It's a combination of things. You do need a team. You can't do all of this by yourself. And so you recommended, one of our interns who's now a full-time employee, Yvette Nguyen from Vietnam, and she started doing some marketing work for us. That's helped with the inbound marketing somewhat. Inbound is a good thing. We're reworking our website and thinking about that content carefully. So inbound's one part, but the sales that I have today have been closed by myself because of my LinkedIn network, reaching out to people, making new connections. And it's something that I wake up every day and I spend a good hour or two networking. I do that every day. And what I do today matters 3 months later. And that's something in sales that I've learned. I'm an engineer. I'm a software engineer, by trade, but I've had to learn sales for my business to survive. And you have to work at it every day and fill that pipeline, or you will not have any sales. You kid yourself, you really fool yourself and say, well, hey, this one says they want to do business with us. But that percentage of those sales in your pipeline that close is very small.
Yeah.
You got to be real with yourself, honest, and just keep working it every day. And then you will see results. Things we did last year are starting to produce results today.
There you go.
Today's world, people work remotely, weird hours, and as a startup, I like to offer that to people that
absolutely,
if they want to go walk the dog in the morning and work in the evening, I don't care. If it's not something that's critical to getting the task done, why do I care what time they do it? But the government audit had a form that I need to put everybody's working from 9 to 5 sitting in their desk at that office at that exact time. And the only thing I was dinged on was remote work. They said I didn't track the hours well enough.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so the working culture for today's group, like you said, is very different. But the government hasn't caught up with that. They don't have a way for me to really list. I can track hours for remote work, but I can't show that, this person needed to go to the doctor or something, and I don't care, go out the door, go do it. I let people go do things like that. I don't track every little thing because we're a little startup. Why do I need to do that at this point? When I get bigger, sure, I'll put in a...
Is there something that you've gotten from the government, or where you like, that was really good?
Actually, I haven't, and I sure would have enjoyed these programs for setting up your business and grants and things like that. I'm past the 5-year mark, so I'm no longer considered eligible for a lot of these things as far as I know.
Yeah.
Things have improved a lot. The Gold Card program, where you could get your APRC in 3 years, it took me 5.
Yeah.
It was really, really hard on my own. I sure would have enjoyed some of these benefits, but I think when people get them, they don't understand how valuable it is, and they waste them.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you on that. I mean, with Entrepreneur Visa, we try to really make it so easy for people to have soft landings in Taiwan. But yeah, they do come from maybe a different mindset. They expect things to be given to them on a silver platter, and everything must be done and laid out. And it's like, no.
They're already getting a lot on that silver platter. They just need to add the extra decoration to that platter, because they've gotten, they get 80%. Some of these matchmaking things are great, but you still have to do project management.
Absolutely.
You still have to get ready with your sales and marketing campaigns.
If you had to start Lone Star Technologies again, or as you said, you're in the process of rebranding, or did rebrand, if you had to start again, what would you do differently?
There's so many things. I have to say, when I look back, there's so many things I could have done differently. I just didn't have the skills. I had to learn the hard way a lot of things, and then learn from it, then adjust. I've learned that I need to really trust my gut instinct on things. When people tell you that your business is not really going to be a business, the idea of supply chain management services, people tell me can't be a business. I'm either a trader, I need to trade and add a margin and sell, but I can't offer the service, nobody will pay for it. And for many years, I kind of believed that. So I think you really have to trust yourself when you come to these crossroads and really go all in.
Did you ever get that wow moment, I'm doing it? Receiving an email with a big order or a compliment or referral, and you're like, man, I'm doing it.
I think just when you're able to have people on your team, and it's not just you, you're growing and you're able to take care of others through your business. That's everything. And no one helped you so much. I mean, of course, you got your own network of friends. I've talked with you on many occasions, different people here in Taiwan that have given me wonderful advice and helped and kind of spurred some ideas to help me get to what I wanted to do. I worked at a big company. We had an IT department. We had a shipping department. Yeah. We had a department for everything. I didn't have to do everything on my own. When you do it on your own, you realize that it wasn't because the company arranged it for you. You did it. That's when you know you do know what you're doing. If you can make it work on your own without all the support, the life support that big companies offer, you know what you're doing. We are tweaking our website quite a bit now, but that's been a lot of learning that we've gathered over the years. And we're changing the focus from look at us, how great we are, to what customers are looking to solve. We're trying to understand our customers' problems that they have and address that when they come to our website so they can find what they are looking for.
Yeah. Future for your business?
I'm hoping to scale. I really want to be a much larger business than what we are today, which is not a lot. I mean, we're very small right now. There's 4 of us here in Taiwan and 2 doing sales in the United States. But I want to be 4 times bigger. And I want to do it in a year.
Nice. What would be your game plan in order to achieve that?
So every week I have usually 2 or 3 sales calls. And so the sales team in the US is starting to help me dig out leads and set up those calls for me. That is the key. If you have sales, everything else you can figure out. We know how to do this factory side and supply chain side. We can add great people here. This is a great resource island. There's so many talented people in a small area. That part we can solve. It's finding sales. If you have sales, everything else can be worked out.
No profitable sales, no business.
Sales and cash flow.
There you go, cash flow. Speaking of cash flow, this brings up another point that we need to discuss. The costs of setting up a business and running a business. Because it ain't cheap to do in Taiwan, and
Right.
you run out of your money very fast. Listen, folks, you're a consultant. So people think, oh, well, you can just do that from home, sitting on your laptop, which yes, but it can be done. But in reality, what would somebody who wants to set up a consulting firm or business, even if it's a one-person business, what sort of costs would they be looking into to set up the business, and then like monthly running costs?
I think the first thing that you would need to plan for if you're not fluent in Chinese is to have that assistant bookkeeper who's going to make things faster for you. You're going to have to pay that salary. And salaries are much lower in Taiwan than they should be. Rental prices are high.
Yeah.
Other expenses are, I would say, medium compared to what I'm used to in the United States, for sure. But it is, there's just a base run rate that you need to do business, right? You've got to pay. You need to live, right? You need a salary. Your person that's assisting you, if you're a one-person show, needs a salary. You've got taxes to pay in the government. You need to take care of that.
Monthly bookkeeping and accounting fees.
And where are you going to locate your business? You need to have an address here in Taiwan that you register it at. A lot of these co-working places here make that fairly simple to do that, but it's still an expense.
Let's just pull some figures. I mean, we both know running costs and things. So an employee around about, say, 40,000 a month. Let's include health insurance.
Mine range from, mine are higher paid, like because I need certain things. They range from 50,000. If you hire a foreigner in Taiwan, you have to pay a minimum of around 50,000 in order to get a work permit for them in Taiwan.
Gotcha.
And your business has to have a certain amount of revenue in order to hire that foreigner. But so my salaries range from 50,000 a month to, I've got one close to 150,000 a month.
Can I send you my resume? There's not much to put on my resume.
But the reason for that is, you look at the revenue they produce and the work that they do. That whatever it is that you need, bookkeeping, you can get in the range when that, say 50,000, 40,000 for a good bookkeeper to help you do some things. But if you're talking about an excellent program manager that speaks English and Mandarin and has a background in supply chain and can handle half a dozen clients, that one is a higher paid job because they earn a lot. They bring a lot in.
So for a consulting firm, you're 4 people in total. You've got to do revenues of probably way over $500,000 Taiwan dollars a month just to cover the basics.
It can be that. We are running on a skeleton budget. We really do. I actually don't pay myself a lot because I'm putting it all back in the business.
Understood. Well, that's part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I've been running TIE for 4 years now, never taken a dollar out of it. I wish I could employ myself. But yeah, so that's the reality of running a business here.
Right.
And the main thing is it's not just the setup costs of a business.
Yeah.
It's those running costs that comes in.
Yeah.
That really gets to you. If you don't have a runway of at least 6 months, that would really be pushing it. If you're an experienced entrepreneur and you've proved yourself in business before, you can go for a minimum of 6 months runway. But anything over, if you're less experienced, you definitely need.
I think that's good advice.
Need a big bag of gold, not coins.
And also, so I did mention I've got some higher paid people, but I thought about that very, very carefully. I see many entrepreneurs paying way too much for salaries for people that aren't really producing all that much. That you need to be careful of too.
Yeah.
You need to pay what the market is to retain good people that you can count on. Otherwise, I can't travel and go win more clients, right? So I need to have that solid base.
2 questions in one here. What makes Taiwan so great for business? And secondly, outside of business, why do you love Taiwan?
Well, for me, I'm in manufacturing industry. So being here near factories, I can go to Vietnam, I can go to China, I can stay right here in Taiwan and get a lot of things made and done. So it makes perfect sense. My customers are usually have something going on in this region, which is why I'm located here for what we're doing. I enjoy hiking, going outdoors. That part is great about living in Taiwan. It's safe. You can go out at 3 a.m, walk around. Nothing's going to go on. And I can't say the same for my home country. In Dallas, if I'm walking down the street, I feel nervous.
Yeah.
Even though nothing's happened to me, I just can feel it in the air that it's not really all that safe.
I will say every single female I've interviewed and chatted to before, and I ask that question, what's the one thing that you love about Taiwan? And it's just immediately they say the safety.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
Yeah.
So walk out, if I want to run to 7-Eleven at 2 a.m, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
No one's going to bother me.
Never a problem.
Yeah.
No, fantastic. Yeah.
In Taiwan, there's the local population, which have great friendships, but there's an other population. There's not an American population or the South African population. It's people in Taiwan that are from here and the others, and we are the others. We stick together. That I wouldn't have in the United States.
Yeah.
I don't have the network in the United States that I have here in Taiwan from the foreign community.
Absolutely. I'm definitely second you on that one. We've had at events, at TIE events before, where there are 50 people, and it's not uncommon that they're from 20 or 25 different countries that are represented there. Honestly, if I wanted to start doing automobile parts to Mexico, I can pull someone out immediately who's Mexican and in that sort of industry,
right?
Or an Australian or a Russian, or it's so easy to get connected to people from different countries, different industries, and this is really for me a world in one. This is just so easy.
It is easy here.
Every single night, folks, there is an event out there in Taipei. Most of them are free of charge. Sometimes it's all about electronics or engineering. Sometimes other more practical things like food and beverage. Just go to them. I've got no technology background, but I used to go to all the electronics and engineering events. And I just met so many people.
Yeah, so that would be a big draw for people if they're in Taiwan, if they want that experience.
One of the big pillars of success in Taiwan is the network that you have. Because the network that you have will greatly determine the success that you will achieve. Of course, you're going to have to put a ton of work in as well. But it's really just connecting with people who has done it before. Every problem that a foreign entrepreneur runs into in Taiwan has been dealt with and overcame by so many other foreign entrepreneurs. So it's really just go out and ask people. Cara, as always, thank you so much for sitting down with me for a chat.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Definitely want to catch up with you more. And it's like...
It's exciting and scary. And if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
I love that. And thank you so much, folks, for following us. And yes, if it's on your mind to come and settle in Taiwan at some point and start a business, do connect with me. We do have a lot of knowledge and experience and wonderful people that I can connect you to. And yes, we can also assist with visas if needed. So stay in touch, everyone, and take care. Bye.
Taiwan is attracting foreign talented entrepreneurs through the Entrepreneur Visa program.
Folks, if you're serious about starting a new business and you really want to come and try it in Taiwan, this is your ticket to success. So get in touch with our TIE team. We are dealing with an entrepreneur visa. We have all the knowledge you need, so get in touch with us.